So if you've been paying attention to MMA Twitter lately, you've probably noticed the custom sorts that a lot of the main event fighters for UFC 300 are going to get. I'm going to be showing some pictures on the side just so you guys, if you haven't already seen it. These are the real sorts that Max Holloway is going to be wearing. He's going to be wearing some nice Hawaiian floral. And I know a lot of people were giving him shit for wearing these. They didn't like the design. And I'll be real with you, the design isn't perfect. I think I saw a concept design that I just liked better. I think it's a little bit bland, but I mean, he asked for floral sorts. So he was given floral sorts. I thought what the UFC did is pretty cool. I mean, Bryce Mitchell got camo sorts. They gave O'Malley pink sorts. I mean, I think this needs to be a thing for every single main event fighter moving forward. If you can prove that you deserve a main event spot on a UFC fight night, bare minimum, you should get custom sorts. I know that sounds crazy, but I want you to think about this. Think of all of the Renaissance age UFC fighters. Their entire nickname was broadcasted on their sorts. The greatest example of this was Chuck the Iceman Liddell. If Chuck Liddell wore blue Venom sorts, that name would flop so hard. But it helped because of what Chuck Liddell was wearing. He had Iceman on the waistband. It was pretty badass. I want that to come back, and I never understood why the UFC did away with it. I understand why they did away with sponsors. I don't agree with it. I don't like what it did. But I understand why we did away with it. I don't understand why we did away with custom sorts. And I know why we brought it back. Let me tell you something. Because if you think the reason that the UFC brought back custom sorts was for the good of the fighter, to give them a way of expressing themselves, expressing their culture. I mean, Alex Pereira's sorts are print from his tribe in Brazil. You can't get any better than that. If you think that's the reason why, absolutely not. Let me tell you why they're doing custom sorts and why certain fighters got them and certain fighters didn't. Jamal Hill didn't get custom sorts. I understand why Maxwell Holloway got it. Justin Gaethje got it. Wei Lee got custom sorts. Why didn't Yao Xiaonan? Why didn't he get anything? Why didn't Charles Oliveira get custom sorts? That makes zero sense to me. I would argue Charles Oliveira is a little bit more marketable than more marketable than Zhang Wei Li, easily. I don't understand why I didn't get sorts. Unless, the biggest reason why they're doing these custom sorts is, one, the very reason they got leaked. All these sorts got leaked, the designs that ended up being official, got leaked on the UFC store. Where they were selling these bitches for $120 a pop. $120 for custom sorts that the UFC owns the design on. Okay, that's how they can justify the price. And first off, I could make a whole video just laughing at the prices on the UFC store, because the way that they have been price gouging just about everything on the store is absolutely insane. I'm sorry, it just is. But that is how the sorts got leaked. And first off, I think this needs to be a thing. I'm sounding pretty negative right now, but in my mind, custom sorts should have been a thing ever since the Reebok era. I don't care if somebody has blue sorts on, yellow sorts on, give them custom designs. And here's the wildest part about it. It took this long into the Venom era for us to get custom sorts, when you can design your own sorts in the Venom website. Venom has done custom apparel for years, custom fight apparel for years now. But just now, UFC fighters can actually get custom sorts. It's absolutely insane to me. And I think the biggest reason is first off, they have to hire a designer, buy the design off of him, own the design, so they can sell it for $120 a pop on their merch website. Because notice the fighters that they're using are the fighters that have the biggest names. Except for Charles. Charles makes absolutely zero sense. In my mind, Charles needs the next dude to get custom sorts. But in my opinion, if you ever get on a main card, how about this? I'll be reasonable. If you get on a main card of a numbered card, okay, you deserve custom sorts. Universally. They should give you the option to get custom sorts. That is what I'm going to die on. Next thing I'm going to be talking about is, to go along with that, we also have a confirmation that we're going to be getting a new glove announcement. The reason I'm hitting you with these air quotes for new glove is because when this was being permeated through like MMA Twitter and X and Instagram and all that, and people are even sending me it like, oh yeah, there's going to be a new glove announcement on the Friday after the press conference. I looked into it, and thank you guys for sending it, by the way. Like, it does keep me in the loop. I looked into it. Understand there is absolutely nothing in it that confirms nor denies that they're going to be changing out their gloves. Let me tell you what it could be, and I have a very bad feeling. It's just a slightly different design. Okay? They did the same type of thing when they said that they were going to change the color of the UFC 200 canvas. That looks like shit. I'm sorry. Whoever greenlit this idea needs to lose their job. That's ugly. I'm worried that they're going to do gold gloves. I'm like, if that turns out to be it and you're not going to redesign the gloves after we just had the Chris Weidman incident, I don't know what to tell you. Now listen, new gloves in the UFC has been something that's been talked about, I shit you not, for 20 years now. Okay? Like, you can go back that far. The reason that it's kind of heating up now is because all the eye pokes that are happening, and two, you have people like Justin Gaethje, Rose Namajunas, Kamaru Usman, shit, even Gilbert Burns. He's talking about how Trevor Whitman makes his own MMA gloves that you can't buy on a store, by the way. I rechecked. You can get Trevor Whitman boxing gloves, but to protect his patent so nobody's going to rip him off, you can't buy his actual MMA gloves. And a few years ago, I don't know if you guys were watching the Jerry at this time, Trevor Whitman did a podcast. It was there Trevor Whitman and Justin Gaethje, or was one of them, did a podcast with Joe Rogan, and they talked about this. Even Joe Rogan has said Trevor Whitman has the best MMA gloves in the business. I trust his opinion, and I've never heard anyone say anything bad about the gloves that Trevor Whitman makes. I could make a whole video talking about Trevor Whitman lore because the dude is a legitimate striking genius. So the fact that he's making an MMA glove that, by all accounts, according to all the MMA fighters, Joe Rogan, all of them, all unanimously agree is just a superior glove to, I'm not even kidding you, a 25-year-old design of a glove that is outdated. Dude, I could find you a better MMA glove on Amazon for $30 compared to the $60 gloves that they're trying to sell you. You are buying a brand if you're buying actual UFC gloves. I don't think I see many people actually sparring with UFC gloves because even in training they realize they're just shitty gloves. They just are. If you want like the best MMA gloves on the market, honestly, like you're not buying UFC gloves. You're not. That's just a fact. But I have a feeling that's not going to be the case because the whole reason that we don't have the Trevor Whitman MMA gloves, I'm sure a few of you are wondering, well, if they're so good, why are those not the gloves? Because when they came into negotiations, things were going great. Trevor Whitman, now this is according to Trevor Whitman, UFC has never officially put out a word on it, but they wouldn't. They would never put out a word on it unless it was official. That's all I'm going to say. According to Trevor Whitman, negotiations were going good, and they did really love the gloves. The gloves were in the final steps of their negotiation, but right when they were about to sign the contract, Trevor Whitman realized that they wanted to buy the patent off of him, not a royalty deal. Understand this. Trevor Whitman designed, patented, and researched and tested his own MMA glove by himself and his fighters. He wants a royalty deal where for X amount of years, let's just say 5 years, the UFC can use your MMA gloves and you're going to make X amount. Why not? It's one dude. You're not playing a multi-million dollar company in Venom to be doing this. We do this with Venom all the time. You're paying one dude, Trevor Whitman. I don't understand what the deal was, but I understand why they want to do a patent, because then it's a one-time purchase, and if they don't want to, like, renew the deal. So, like, say we do a five-year royalty deal. You get paid, let's just say, $150,000 a year for that. Trust me, it would be much more than that. But it's one dude. It'd be less than you buying for a company, like millions less. You can get past all of that if I just buy the patent off of you. So instead of you making $100,000 a year, I'm just going to buy the patent off of you for $300,000 a year. So instead of only using it for 5 years, I now own your glove for life, and you have no say over that intellectual property that you designed, by the way. I like the UFC, but I will 100% be honest when I think the UFC is either doing something scummy or two, made a mistake. I think they did two things. I think they were being scummy to Trevor Whitman. Give him the fucking royalty deal. You're not paying millions. You're probably... Best case scenario. Let's just say this. Let's just assume it's a $1.2 million a year. That is less than fucking Reebok. Like, there's nothing... I don't think there's... That would be the least amount of money that you could pay because it's one dude. Maybe some staff for, like, designing it and making a bunch... Like, you would still gain millions of dollars a year, and you would deal with less eye pokes. But the fact is the UFC doesn't ultimately care if they get hit with a controversy with eye pokes, and they don't really care about that. It's just a minor annoyance that occurs every couple fight nights. But it's happening more frequently, so now there's dialogue, and I just want to talk about that. I know I'm ranting, but legitimately it does bother me that bad that they tried to pull that bullshit on Trevor Whitman. He seems like such a nice dude. That's why it kind of is like, come on, dude. But this is what I'm worried about, okay? That it's not a glove redesign. I really hope it's a glove redesign. Anything is better than nothing. But I swear to all that is holy, if they take the UFC off the glove and put fucking Prime on the knuckles, I'm no longer an MMA fan. We do all this branding on the canvas. You took away fighters' abilities to put brands on their swords. If you put Bud Light on the knuckles of an MMA glove, I'm done. I think that's going to be it. Honestly, like, that would be one of the nails in the coffin. Like, I would take a break for a minute, because that would just be ridiculous. But anyways... No, I think it's going to be a slight redesign. I think they're going to make it like fucking gold or red or some dumb color. They're going to redesign it for UFC 300. Best case scenario, it's a complete redesign. Hopefully using some of Trevor Whitman's technology. Hopefully he got a deal done. Or maybe they're doing custom gloves. Like maybe we're going to get floral gloves. Nah, that'd be kind of ass too. But anyways, tell me what you think in the comment section down below. What do you think about the custom swords? Who do you think should have custom swords? And what do you think about the UFC gloves? Be honest. Adios, guys, and thank you all for your support.